Today you're going to be learning about invasive species. What do you think of when you hear the term invasive species?
Aliens.
No.
Ninja.
No.
Then what is it, Jasmine?
Well, an invasive species is a species that multiplies quicker than we can contain it, to the point where it becomes dangerous.
I still don't get it.
Here's a demonstration.
David Lodge is a biologist at the University of Notre Dame. He says our agricultural system depends on plant and animal species imported to America, like wheat and cows and pigs. But that doesn't make them invaders.
An invasive species is a species that's been transported from one part of the planet to the other by people, and a species that has a harmful impact.
Now I'll explain the four most intrusive kinds of invasive species. Zebra mussels were discovered in Lake St. Clair near Detroit in 1988, but since then they have spread to the Great Lakes and also the Mississippi River and inland lakes. These mussels attach themselves to hard surfaces and can produce millions of offspring every single year. They have wiped out native clam and mussel species, forcing them to compete for plankton and other food sources. They have clogged many rivers and streams, forcing industries that use river water for cooling to spend millions trying to clean and clear them. The best way to prevent the spread of zebra mussels is to refrain from mixing bodies of water. Officials have told local fishermen to thoroughly clean their boats every single time they bring them into the water.
These destructive mussels blanket the floor of big and small lakes alike. They have invaded 20 states, lurking in hundreds of inland lakes and 6 major rivers. And they stick themselves to everything.
So if you take a look at a pipe that mussels have entered, now you've got a problem.
Utility pipes and machinery often get clogged with massive amounts of sticky mussels, and it's costing us millions.
Meet the king of the Illinois River. Wow. And a big show-off. Fast, easy to startle, and voracious eaters, Asian silver carp are a jarring sight here, and a hit on YouTube. The Illinois River has been invaded.
Asian carp was brought to the United States in the 1970s from Asia as an attempt to remove algae and clean suspended matter from ponds. They can grow to be 100 pounds and feed on almost anything. They have recently taken over the Illinois River, representing 90% of its biomass because they have no natural predators. Many scientific researchers fear that the carps will reach the Great Lakes and damage the ecosystem there. The population of Asian carp has doubled almost every year since the beginning of the 2000s. The best solution that the Department of Agriculture has right now is to eat them.
These twisting vines are known as kudzu, an extremely aggressive invasive species that's trying to strangle their dreams.
It's choking out our trees that we love so much. It's invading the creek, tearing down the fence lines, very snaky.
And it grows fast. They set this stake at the edge of the growth on a Tuesday. By Friday, vines were 2 feet past.
Kudzu vine is originally a plant native to Japan, grown for its roots, which are starchy and edible. It was brought to Pennsylvania in the 1870s. The plant's huge leaves are fast-growing, and it was brought to North America with intentions to use it to steep banks of soil and prevent erosion. It soon became rampant, spreading vastly all over parts of the U.S., and its natural enemies were not brought along with it. About 7 million acres of forest is now covered with kudzu, and it continues to spread via seedlings each summer season at a rate of about 1 foot per day. The weed can grow over anything in its path, including other plants, buildings, road signs, and more. It kills any other plant it grows on because its leaves block out sunlight, making the vine dangerous to other plants. To prevent regrowth, its eradication is necessary.
Right, let's talk a little bit about the plant, and it's a very aggressive plant.
It's a very rapid grow. It's a legume, so it has the kind of the 3 leaflets, if you will. Some people might, if they look at it, think, oh, that looks like poison ivy. It's not. It's not a relative of poison ivy, actually, a close relative, that is. It's a nitrogen fixer, so it was thought at one point in time that, oh, it can help replenish the soil, and so that's one of the reasons why U.S. Department of Ag promoted it for soil stabilization, for erosion, some forage production for livestock. And then by the 50s, they figured out, oh, this is getting a little out of hand.
The giant African snail, also known as the giant African land snail, was introduced in Hawaii in 1936 from Africa, most likely through a trading ship where eggs or small snails were attached. It was then spread to the continental U.S. in 1966 via freight containers, plants, soil, and even vehicles. Reproducing at incredible rates, they can grow up to 20 centimeters tall, 8 inches long, and produce up to 1,200 eggs each year, with a hatching viability of about 90%. These creatures are hermaphrodites, possessing both male and female reproductive parts, and have no natural predators. They are a vector for human pathogens and parasites, often carrying the roundworm for human meningitis. They can also grow so large in numbers that they have been named a public nuisance in parts of Florida, where some cause road hazards and make traveling difficult. These snails feed on many native plants as well as house materials, damaging both agriculture and local ecosystems. A regulatory program is now being conducted in order to eradicate the new species, costing around $3 million so far.
Seen up close like this, it seems like any old garden snail. But step back, and it's far more disturbing. An 11-centimeter body that takes up half of this researcher's hand. But since last September, inspection teams like this have scooped up more than 35,000 of them.
They like to eat the stucco off the sides of the houses because it contains calcium, and the calcium helps to build their shells.
Last week alone, Susie's team found 583 specimens in Yolanda's little garden.
Right there, in this wall, that wall, and the window was full of species.
For Florida's Agricultural Department, it's a crisis and a matter of urgency to keep the non-native species from moving from the cities into Florida's orchards and fields.
These snails have 500 host plants. If they were to become established, it could devastate Florida's agriculture. Agriculture is second only to tourism as far as economic impact.
Back home, folks. It's close to midnight. Something evil's lurking in the dark. Under the moonlight, you see a sight that almost stops your heart. You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you make it. And you start to freeze, and so it looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed.